How's it going, everybody? My name's Christendo. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Last time, we got our final armor set from Kilton and went around Hyrule looking at every single reference that there was in the game to previous games, of course. Next up, I think that for this episode, we tie up some loose ends from something that's sort of been a series-long tradition and something that I was apparently more thorough of than I actually thought. Today, we're going to be finishing up every bio in the game. There he is. I mentioned this guy actually, you know what? Not a long time ago. I've been seeing his corpses around Hyrule a lot, but I only really mentioned him a few episodes ago. This is the Stalnox, or otherwise known as the Stalnox. These guys are a different take on the stall enemies. As you can no doubt tell, the eye is going to be the weak spot. Come on, if I can show this off. And if you hit the eye, he's going to fall down, and if I can show this off. Come on. Okay, part of his tactics are he's going to break off bones and throw them at you, and eventually, if he will please do it. Okay, I don't think he's gonna do the attack I want him to do on command, but watch out, because this one in particular is going to be able to pick up trees and use them as weapons against you. Those are, you know, now that I think about it, really his only attacks. I mean, he can obviously smack the ground to hit you, but he's not all too special. What is special about him, though, ooh, wood, is the swords and stuff lodged in his body. Those are going to be things that you're going to want to pick up after the fight, because he can actually have some decent equipment. Throw another bone at us. There we go. His eye can pop out of his skull, and you can attack that for major damage. Okay, what should I switch to? Oh, flame sword, why not? And one more hit ought to do it. Kill the eye, and you kill the Stalnox. Oh, whoa, whoa! Hinox Tooth, no. He dropped a Royal Broadsword, which is nice, and he dropped, if I can show it, a Frost Spear, but that's not what I'm interested in. He dropped a giant durability up boomerang. I really don't need it, but I'm definitely gonna take that. Okay, that is the big thing that I wanted to start off the episode with. Now I'm gonna do a little montage going through and fighting all the enemy variants that we missed throughout Hyrule. First up, we have the Silver Lizalfos. Now, the Silver Lizalfos, much like most of the silver variants of enemies, are just stronger variants of enemies that sounded very redundant now that I say it, but it's true. Next, we're going to be tackling the Silver Moblin, much like the Lizalfos, just a stronger variant, boasting more health, damage, and will drop gems upon being defeated. When fighting electric choo-choos, you are going to want to make sure that you give yourself enough distance, or just use arrows or bombs. They will blow up, and unlike the other types of choo-choos, make you drop all of your metal equipment, because metal is conductive to electricity. They drop choo-choo jelly and are fairly weak. However, picking up their yellow choo-choo jelly is really good, because if you're fighting enemies with metal, you can use these as makeshift stun grenades to make them drop everything if you shoot them or hit them with an arrow. Right up ahead, we have one of the other variants of Octorok that I actually missed out on, the Treasure Octorok. These guys pose as treasure chests and are fast as heck, so be sure to kill them quickly. Oh. Sure to kill them quickly. Our last variant of Octorok, I'm actually not showing on the little window right now, because I haven't found one in like 30 minutes, but they are the Snow Octorok. Much like the Forest Octoroks, they will burrow themselves in the snow and will poke their little grassy head tip thing out. If you cut it in half, then they will appear and you can get them an easy kill. Much like the Snow Octorok, the Ice Keese is being very elusive during my recording session, so just pretend that I'm fighting a blue Keese. These guys, much like any elemental battle, you're gonna want to be wary of because, well, they're made of ice, so they can freeze you. And while they aren't as dangerous as the electrical variant, if you ask me, they are still one of the most annoying things to fight. Pebblets, I am genuinely shocked I never talked about, are the little rock enemies that you find all throughout Hyrule that are smaller variants of the Talus. Pick them up and chuck them to get yourself an easy amber or flint or some really early game weapon. There are a few things that I want to tie up. I had bios for every single enemy. What I didn't have bios for was every single boss. So really quickly, I want to talk about them. First, there is one type of Talos that I actually ended up missing. This is the Luminous Talos, a variant of the Talos that drops a heaping load of luminous stone. I have never found one in the game. They are that rare. Next up is Master Koga. I never put a bio up for this guy because it was really early in the series and I didn't think that I was going to be doing bios for all of these guys, but now that I'm at the end, it just feels weird not to. Master Koga, while he doesn't drop anything, he has a decent health pool and a very fun fight that I feel warrants him having his own bio. Okay, all those little mini bosses and any extra stuff aside, now we're getting to the real meat and potatoes here. The Blight Ganons. Starting out, we had Water Blight Ganon. Water Blight Ganon is an enemy that likes to use spears as his main source of weapons, and can even chuck them at you. Your best friend in this fight is your Cryonis rune and your arrows. Next up, we have Thunder Blight Ganon. His main source of attacking is with a short sword and a shield. Break down the shield to stun him and then whale him with all you got. Thunder is his friend, therefore the rubber armor is going to be yours. Also, make sure you get a decent amount of health. He hits hard. After this, we had Fire Blight Ganon. If you have the level 2 Flame Breaker set, then this fight is absolutely a joke. Although, he can still get you with his big axe. He throws fireballs and I believe even has a flamethrower attack. Use your remote bombs to stun him during any of his attacks. Finally, we had Wind Blight Ganon. Wind Blight Ganon had a lot of fun with a machine gun. Arrows and a lot of stamina are going to help you in that fight. Now, I'm going to talk about all of the weapons that we missed throughout the game. Now, things that we didn't really end up seeing were things that didn't really affect our adventure all too much. What I mean by that is, I worded that so weirdly. The first thing on my list was... Link, if you could actually... Hold on. There's something I need to do for this. There we go. I feel like Link should be a little happy for this, because we're tying up all the loose ends that, well, I made sure to talk about during his adventure. First, we missed on the Soup Ladle. One of the worst weapons in the entire game, and it's mostly there just to kind of be sort of a joke weapon, I suppose. Add a little bit of life to the world. You got me, to be honest. Next up is the Soldier's Broadsword, a pretty decent early game broadsword. Feathered Edge is next up, a little short sword that you would find in the Gerudo region. Not bad. Next up is the Royal Guard Sword, the sword that has one of the coolest designs in the game, a lot of damage, but really low durability. Next up, we have the Mighty Lionel Sword. You guys know how I feel about the Lionel weapons. Do a lot of damage, could have a little bit better durability, but you gotta get a heck of a lot good at the game to even try to get one of these things. Next up is the Meteor Rod and the Blizz Rod. These are found on the Meteor Wizrobes and the Blizz Robes. These are leveled up variants of their rods, found by leveled up variants of their specific enemies, and they are pretty good. The Meteor Rod shoots out 3 fireballs, and the Blizz Rod has a giant area of effect. Next up is the Lightning Rod, the level 1 variant of the electrical rods, and it's not bad. It's good for making enemies drop weapons. The Demon Carver is a weapon that you can get off of some Yiga people, but it is really not the best weapon in the world. It looks cool though. The Korok Leaf is Link, if you would please. Haha! One of my favorite weapons in the game. Not for damage, but for usefulness. You guys already know how the Korok Leaf acts. Or do you? Haha! I gotcha. Alright, I'm having too much fun with this. Next up is the Boat Oar, which you can't actually use to make boats go forward in the game, so I don't even know why it's a boat oar in this game. Next up is the Traveler's Claymore, a pretty basic game claymore. Next up is the 8-fold Long Blade. It is a really interesting katana-like weapon that I am kind of sad that I didn't see. I did find the 8-fold blade though, which is like a short sword version of this. Pretty cool weapon all around. Next up is the Royal Guard's Claymore. Everything that I said about the Royal Guard's sword applies, but with a claymore. Spiked Boko Bat and the Dragon Bone Boko Bat are next up, and with really low durability but decent damage for the mid-game, I'd say it's a pretty okay weapon to pick up. The Lionel Crusher and the Savage Lionel Crusher are definitely... Oh, Link, oh god, no. Definitely weapons you guys are gonna wanna pick up for your adventure. These things hit, no, not like that. These things hit like a truck and have just one of the coolest looking designs. You look like freaking Cloud when you're fighting with this thing. The Farmer's Pitchfork, the Fisherman Harpoon, and the Throwing Spear are all spear-like weapons that you can get around the coast of Hyrule and aren't the greatest. Again, kind of like the Soup Ladle, these are weapons that you can definitely skip out on. The Knight's Halberd is next up and is a pretty okay halberd. Early game, I would say pick yourself up a couple, but you're not really missing much. Next up is the Feathered Spear, a pretty low level spear. Don't really bother all too much about that. And the Royal Guard's Spear. If this thing had more durability, it might be one of the most powerful weapons in the game, because with that much damage on a spear, oh boy. The Spiked Moblin Spear and Dragonbone Moblin Spear are next, and just like what I said with the Bokoblin stuff, pretty decent weapon, just not the most durable or reliable. Same thing goes for the Enhanced Lazal Spear and the Forked Lazal Spear. You could probably skip out on these things too. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, maybe these bios weren't as necessary as I thought, but we're almost done with the weapons. The final weapon is the Mighty Lionel Spear. I don't even need to say anything. It's a Lionel weapon, you guys already know. Next up, we have bows, and the Royal Guard's bow. If it, like all the Royal Guard's weapons, had more durability, it would be one of the best bows you can get in the entire game. Finally, for the bows, we have the Lazal bow and the Mighty Lionel bow. When you have the Savage variant, why even bother? Lastly, we have a few shields, and then we are done with all the bios in the game. First, we have the Silver Shield, a shield that looks so cool, but is just not usable because most of the shields in the game outclass it. Same thing goes for the Rusty Shield, but minus the looks part. It's just kind of crappy. Although, if you go to Death Mountain, you can turn this thing into, I think, a Knight Shield. The Royal Guard Shield might be one of the worst Royal Guard things because shields are meant for good durability. You need them to stick around for a while. Low durability, I mean, what do you even get? Speaking of low durability, the Dragonbone Boko Shield boasts a little bit, like, higher tier defense, but not much anything else. Finally, we have the Lazal Shield and the Mighty Lionel Shield. Well, I mean, I've already said it once, if you have the Savage variant and the Steel variant, why even bother with the other stuff? These are just lower tier things that you can get much better versions just by playing the game for an extra 20 minutes. Now that we got every bio out of the way, with the exception of the Guardian Stalker, Guardian Turret, and the Silvermane Lionel, because we're going to talk about those when we actually siege the castle, along with the bio for our final Ganon, because, well, I gotta save that for the finale, don't I? We have everything out of the way. Amiibo information notwithstanding. I don't feel like doing the Amiibo stuff just yet. Now, right before we go to the castle, rather, 2 episodes before we go to the castle, because we gotta go build Terrytown still, I say that we learn more about the story of this world by, well, recovering all of our lost memories. Starting with right down there. The first memory is going to be directly in front of Hyrule Castle. Sacred Ground Ruins. It's gonna be right here.
Hero of Hyrule, chosen by the sword that seals the darkness. You have shown unflinching bravery and skill in the face of darkness and adversity, and have proven yourself worthy of the blessings of the goddess Hylia. Whether skyward bound, adrift in time, or steeped in the glowing embers of twilight, the sacred blade is forever bound to the soul of the hero. We pray for your protection, and we hope that the two of you will grow stronger together as one. Forged in the long distant past.
Gee, this is uplifting. She's making it sound like we already lost.
Wasn't this your idea? You're the one who wanted to designate the appointed knight with all the ceremonial pomp, grandeur, and nonsense we could muster. And if you ask me, the whole thing does seem to be overkill. I think I'm on the same page as the princess regarding this boy.
Oh, give it a rest. That boy is a living reminder of her own failures. Well, at least that's how the princess sees him.
It is clear that Princess Zelda is not too thrilled about having to appoint this new knight, but something tells me that with time she will grow fonder of Link. And something I want to point out before we head to the next one is that there is a reference to, well, different points in time. Whether Skyward Bound is obviously a reference to Skyward Sword, Steeped in Twilight is obviously a reference to Twilight Princess, and Adrift in Time is a reference to Ocarina of Time. Just a little fun fact I thought I'd mention. Okay, see y'all at the next one. Right here, over at Colomo Garson Ruins at Lake Colomo, is going to be our second memory. This is what it's going to look like on the map. And this is what it's going to look like. Whoa, boy. Your key point of interest is going to be the Dueling Peaks right over there to the northeast.
From here, we'll make our way to Goron City. Then, we'll need some adjustments on that divine beast so Daru can manage it as easily as possible. He's figured out how to get it to move. However, it's apparent that we still have much more to learn. But to think that divine beast was actually built by people. That means we should be able to understand how it works and how to use it to our advantage. These divine beasts, so much we don't know. But if we want to turn back Calamity Ganon, they're our best hope. Tell me the truth. How proficient are you right now wielding that sword on your back? Legend says that an ancient voice resonates inside it. Can you hear it yet, hero?
That memory clearly shows that Zelda is very frightened and worried about the events that are soon to proceed. It also shows that since they just discovered the divine beasts and are still trying to figure out how they work, that is a very early memory in the Breath of the Wild timeline. Also, the voice inside of the Master Sword, I believe that is supposed to be a reference to Fi, or Fi, depending on how you say it, from Skyward Sword. Okay, with all that being said, see you all at the next one. Teleporting to the ancient columns right here at the Tena Kosa Shrine. Sadly, we've already gotten the memory here, so we can't show it again. However, I can do a slight recap. Zelda is trying to figure out exactly how these shrines work, poking at it with a Sheikah Slate and doing everything she can. She then blows up at Link, who is right behind her, saying that she doesn't need a bodyguard and to stop following her. It is clear that Link, being a representation of her failures and guarding her at every second, is starting to get on her nerves. Plus, the stress of not knowing everything before Calamity Ganon strikes may also take a toll on her. Okay, see y'all at the next one. One of the, if not the first memory that we ever picked up was right over here at Karkar Bazaar. This one was less important to the main story, as it shows Zelda being chased by the Yiga clansmen, and Link jumping in with the Master Sword to save her. One of the first instances that we see Zelda trusting Link with her life. Okay, on to the next one. The next one is going to be in the Eldin region, between the Woodland and Eldin Tower. Right here is Goronby Lake, and right here is the memory.
That cut doesn't look too bad, actually. You're fine for now. But you know, there's a fine line between courage and recklessness. As brave as you are, that does not make you immortal. It seems that not only is the frequency of these types of attacks on the rise, but the scale of beasts we are facing is intensifying as well. I fear that this is an omen which portends the return of Calamity Ganon. And, if that's the case, I'm ready to expect the worst. We'll need to make preparations as soon as possible.
We can see that Zelda is becoming more accepting of Link. And seeing the corpses of all the Lionels and Bokoblins, she knows that he's a capable warrior, especially with as big of a threat as they had to get faced with. Alright, on to the next one. Next up is going to be an Urch Plain. You're gonna notice that there's this little toenail-looking body of water, and there's going to be this big full tree that's going to be your indicator of you are right at the memory. Here it is. It's going to be right here on the map, and this is what it looks like.
There's one. Oh, and another. The flowers we have in Hyrule aren't just beautiful. They're also quite useful as ingredients for a variety of things. This one here is called the Silent Princess. It's a rare, endangered species. Despite our efforts, we can't get them to grow domestically yet. The princess can only thrive out here, in the wild. All that we can hope is that the species will be strong enough to prosper on its own. Is that what I think it is? Look at this. I don't believe it, but I actually caught one. This delicacy is known to have very, very potent effects under the proper circumstances. Ta-da! Research from the castle shows ingesting one of these can actually augment certain abilities. We wouldn't be in a controlled environment out here, but with your level of physical fitness, you'd be a perfect candidate for the study. Go on. Taste it.
Oh, that's just gross and adorable. And that little Silent Princess line kinda has some deeper meaning. I won't get into it right now, but I'm sure you're all smart enough to understand Silent Princess. Yeah. Okay. I'll see you all at the next memory. These really are pretty flowers. The next memory is going to be located just northeast of Lake Hylia. It'll be noted by this big tree with a weird set of shrine monument statue things in front of it.
I doubt this will let up anytime soon. Your path seems to mirror your father's. You've dedicated yourself to becoming a knight as well. Your commitment to the training necessary to fulfill your goal is really quite admirable. I see now why you would be the chosen one. What if one day you realized that you just weren't meant to be a fighter? Yet the only thing people ever said was that you were born into a family of the royal guard, and so no matter what you thought, you had to become a knight. If that was the only thing you were ever told, I wonder then, would you have chosen a different path?
Zelda is clearly having some doubtful thoughts about her own destiny, and that's honestly a hard memory to watch. But we heard about Link's father. One of the first times in the series that we've heard about Link's family. Very, very interesting. Okay, on to the next memory. Our next memory is actually atop Hyrule Castle itself, right outside of Zelda's study. Seems like a great time to sit and recollect on some things. I'm sorry, that's just a really funny shot.
Incredible. We're at a point now where we can actually control them. At the current rate, we'll soon know all we need to know about the Guardians and the Divine Beasts. And should Ganon ever show itself again, we'll be well positioned to defend ourselves.
What are you doing out here, Zelda?
I was assessing the results of the experiment with the Guardians. These pieces of ancient technology could be quite useful against
I know that. They are essential to Hyrule's future, and our research demands that we keep a close eye on them. However, as the princess, you currently have a crucial unfulfilled responsibility to your kingdom. Let me ask you once more, when will you stop treating this as some sort of childish game?
I'm doing everything I can. I'll have you know that I just recently returned from the Spring of Courage, where I offered every ounce of my prayers to the goddess.
And now you are here wasting your time. You need to be dedicating every moment you have to your training. You must be single-minded in unlocking the power that will seal Calamity Ganon away.
I already am. Don't you see? There's nothing more I can do. My hope is that you'll allow me to contribute here in whatever way I can.
No more excuses, Zelda. Stop running away from your duty. As the king, I forbid you to have anything to do with these machines from this moment on, and command you to focus on your training. Do you know how the gossip mongers refer to you? They are out there at this moment, whispering amongst themselves that you are the heir to a throne of nothing but failure. It is woven into your destiny that you prove them wrong. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
It is clear that the weight of the world is on her shoulders. And I think that the pressure is what's causing her to not unlock her powers. Quite a heavy memory. Uh-oh. Teleporting to the Shrine of Courage. This is where yet another memory we already have unlocked took place. Very simple. Zelda stood in front of the shrine, trying to unlock her powers, failing in the process and crying. That is also a hard memory to watch. Okay, on to the next one. Our next memory is going to be directly to the east of Satori Mountain, actually. It's going to be this big U-shaped, almost horse stable-esque looking thing on the map. I'll show you right now. Right here. Cut to when I get to it.
Be sure to take the time to soothe your mount. That's the only way it will know how you truly feel. Your advice was quite helpful, thank you. This little one and I are getting along quite well now. At first, I wasn't sure if I should outfit him with all of the royal gear. I thought maybe he should have to earn it first. But it works. He wears it like a true natural. I'm trying to be a bit more empathetic. Benefit of the doubt, you know? See that mountain? That's Mount Lanayru. It takes its name from the goddess of wisdom. Lanayru's decree is very specific. It says no one is allowed under the age of 17. For only the wise are permitted a place upon the mountain. I've prayed at the Spring of Courage and at the Spring of Power, yet neither awoke anything inside me. But maybe up there. Perhaps the Spring of Wisdom, the final of the three, will be the one. To be honest, I have no real reason to think that will be the case. But there's always the chance that the next moment will change everything. Tomorrow is my 17th birthday. So then I shall go and make my way up the mountain.
That is some pretty heavy stuff. Well, I hope she had a happy birthday. Okay, see you all at the second to last memory. The second to last memory is actually going to be somewhere we've been a few times. Right here at the Lanayru Road East Gate at the Lanayru Promenade. God, a lot of L's and R's. This is where it is in the map. And this is what it looks like. Careful, there's a Lionel through that gate. Oh, I guess the effect froze. That's neat.
Well, don't keep us in suspense. How'd everything go up there on the mountain?
So you didn't feel anything? No power at all?
I'm sorry, no.
Then let's move on. You've done all you could. Feeling sorry for yourself won't be of any help. After all, it's not like your last shot was up there on Mount Lanayru. Anything could finally spark the power to seal Ganon away. We just have to keep looking for that thing.
That's kind of you. Thank you.
If I may, I thought you... well, I'm not sure how to put this into words. I'm actually quite embarrassed to say it. But I was thinking about what I do when I'm healing. You know, what usually goes through my mind. It helps when I think about...
is it then?
Are you sure?
Positive.
It's awake. Ganon.
Let's stop wasting time. We're gonna need everything we got to take that thing down. Now, champions, to your divine beasts, show that swirling swine who's boss. Link will need to meet Ganon head-on when we attack. This needs to be a unified assault. Little guy, you get to Hyrule Castle. You can count on us for support, but it's up to you to pound Ganon into oblivion.
Come, we should go. We need to get you someplace safe.
No. I'm not a child anymore. I may not be much use on the battlefield, but there must be something I can do to help.
War has begun. Calamity Ganon has struck. And we are witnessing the beginning of the end. There's only one more memory to go. Let's see how things really fell apart. See you guys there. Our final memory brings us north of the bottomless swamp and right next to the Hylia River. All right, let's see how things really went down that day.
How did it come to this? The divine beasts, the guardians, they've all turned against us. It was Calamity Ganon. It turned them all against us. And everyone, Mifa, Urbosa, Rivali, and Daruk, they're all trapped inside those things. It's all my fault. Our only hope for defeating Ganon is lost, all because I couldn't harness this cursed power. Everything I've done up until now, it was all for nothing. So I really am just a failure. All my friends, the entire kingdom, my father most of all. I tried and I failed them all. I left them all to die.
Upon getting every last memory, we're gonna make our way back to Kakariko Village.
Huh?
Well, well, you've returned. What is it?
Oh?
No. All 12 pictures already? You visited every place? Then I suppose it's time. I will reveal the location of the final memory. Here's what happened. Lady Zelda gave me specific instructions. She asked me to wait to show you this. This is the final picture. Does it look familiar? From this village, you should be able to get there in half day's time. Now go, child. Seek out what Lady Zelda has shown you. And we have an update to our Captured Memories main objective. Now that image should look very, very familiar. Why should it look familiar? Well, if we actually can find it on the map, it's gonna be right over here at Fort Hiteno. Directly to the west of the Fort Hiteno, and right in the middle of Ash Swamp, lies Link's 13th and final memory. I'm gonna end off the episode here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. These ones took a lot more effort to make than usual, as you can no doubt tell by both the length and the amount of editing. And I really do hope you guys are enjoying the series. As it's coming to a close and we're gonna have our climactic finale here soon, I hope you don't mind just one more peaceful episode where we help put together a more modernized settlement in Hyrule. Alright, see you guys next time.
Save yourself. Go. I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Run! Was that the power? Huh? No, no! Link, get up! You're going to be just fine. Sword. So he can still be saved.
Princess!
Huh?
Princess, are you all right?
Take Link to the Shrine of Resurrection. If you don't get him there immediately, we are going to lose him forever. Is that clear? So make haste and go. His life is now in your hands.